Oh my goodness, we're gonna have to put this on hold.
Do I have
Oh,
a visitor?
We have a visitor.
I have to use the bathroom while you watch her.
I will watch her. Yeah, I know. Come here.
oh,
Oh, we have a visitor.
The newest track packer, Rae, and we go from Troy Schill to the next racing person.
Oh my god, the thing is disgusting. There's a giant ass spider.
There's a giant ass spider.
There's a giant. It's like that show,
And
Big
she
Ass
literally
Spider.
took. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Track Packer podcast. I am your new dad of the podcast, Rae Pelkey, and I am kicking this thing off because I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be sleeping, or at least changing my 100th diaper for the day. So, Mason, let's get this show going. We have no format. We are running wild and free, which is the opposite of what my baby is doing.
I'll say she's kind of locked up right now, isn't she?
She's
She
locked
is.
down.
She's probably on her side.
Yeah, she probably is. No, she's laying on Becca right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Mason. From now on, though, we could call him Daddy.
Papa Pelks.
Papa Pelks.
Papa Pelks.
Has a nice ring to it.
And we also will be having the Godfather here in less at the end of the month. He will be part of the blessings.
I'm very
Indeed.
concerned.
Yeah, I would be too.
Will you offer him a lesson or her a lesson in camera videography that she will not be able to refuse?
I will teach her how not to crash a drone. How about that?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, with
That would be very good.
With that, officially episode 26 of season 3. Welcome everyone back to the Track Packers podcast. As you can see, we have coming off a very crazy, chaotic, a lot of stuff happening throughout the last week. Jessup already alluded to it. New dad. Congratulations to you and Becca on the coming into the world of Rae Pelkey. It's got to be a really good experience.
I hope she has a good experience. She's already pretty much donned the Track Packer experience at night one. We had her watching the 100 and having the Track Packer beanie around. She's already rocking multiple beanies, but we got to get a small one here made up here. I think we're going to have to wait a little bit before we make it because she'll grow into it by the beginning of next year. But it's been good so far.
Excellent.
She's already yelling "go," so that's good too.
She is throwing her arm up a little more sporadic than John, but I think she makes up for energy and effort.
We taught her well.
Believe me, I got some sporadic goes next to me this weekend at I-94. Which, speaking of John, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. So it's been a very nice weekend. It was a lot of fun over at the 100 with you this past week, Mason. There was definitely some shenanigans that was going on as well, which is normal between the two of us when we're together. And besides that though, no, it's fun and I'm entering my personal favorite week of the year for racing.
From one good week to the next, I had an eventful week. I mean, I'll touch on it throughout our recap because I don't even know what day it is, to be honest, right now. I think it's a Monday.
And I'm sorry. Because you had a little bit of carnage this past weekend.
I had quite a bit of carnage, unfortunately.
How does it go, John?
It is carnage.
Or is it the Batman? Carnage.
It's carnage.
It's carnage.
There was plenty of it, especially on Saturday.
Would that make Mason the Dark Knight?
Yes, he fits that role quite well. I mean, he went up to the flag stand just during the Midwest Modified A
What?
main. Yes, he was up in the flag stand during the Midwest Modified
What?
A main, taking videos from up there. And he came down and Kayla was actually sitting next to us during that period of time. And he came down and I looked at Kayla and I said, "Can't you tell how dusty he is?"
Oh, Jesus. And other notes, did Kayla get any candy at the candy toss?
There wasn't no candy
There
toss.
was no candy toss.
Did she get any
And-
candy?
And I offered her candy and she took none.
Wow. Wow, too good. You may have to throw it at her.
I think so.
So Mason, how
Indeed.
are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. It's been a Monday. I'm ready for the next weekend of racing, just so I can kind of hopefully move forward with everything. So, we'll touch on more of that in just a little bit. Before we get into the episode, we got to thank our presenting sponsor, as always, Hitch Harness and Tyler Hall. Thank you for supporting us over the last couple of years. If you haven't checked out Hitch Harness, be sure to head over to hitchharness.com. The signature products are the single or double style receiver hitch harness, which provides safe and efficient storage for your receiver hitches. You can also find several other products on there, so be sure to check out the website. Ask Tyler, message him if you have any questions regarding any of his products, and thank you for supporting us on the podcast.
You think he'll make me a hitch harness for the stroller?
That could be an idea.
Maybe.
You could use it for multiple purposes, I'm sure.
Or
True.
do you think it'll be one of those like elevating little lifts that it can use for the baby when changing the diapers?
One of those lift things.
One of those lift things. It's a great terminology there.
Mason, I'm tired. Give me a break.
Don't worry, I'm still recovering too. We'll get started with episode 26 of season 3 with the waving the green flag and into who or what are we repping. So Jessup, start us off as you are the pole sitter once again.
The leader of the pack leads the field to the green, as usual. Thank you, Mason, for emphasizing who the leader is. I'm representing a Jaden Christ red older racing t-shirt. It's kind of cool. I believe I got this one from Mason. And let's see if I can turn around. Yeah. You see it? Mason?
What year was that, guys?
I was gonna guess. I think it's 2020.
No, it's 2021.
Ah,
I
dang
say
it.
2022. But anyways, kind of a fun deal. We got Jaden with our Stampede Shakedown this weekend. Well, maybe we'll discuss all of our participants later in the show. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, kind of a fun shirt. I'm rocking my Booby Can koozie in honor of Becca well, she's not here tonight, so gotta remember her.
I would agree.
All right. Excellent. Cool shirt and koozie shirt.
Mason, I've shared this koozie over and over, but
I
with
know.
her being a mom now, this really fits it.
This is true.
Fair enough. Well, for the hat, I'm repping Jamestown Speedway. It's
That was such a great transition.
I know it was.
Smooth. And for my hat, maybe it was John's turn.
Well, no, I was next in the lineup, and then it's John. John is our
Oh.
closer.
Oh, John's
Yes.
the closer.
Mhm.
He's taking the rear of the field.
Yep. Repping Jamestown Speedway for the hat. Got a WISSOTA koozie. So one of those that doesn't have a bottom to it. So that's a little
Oh,
different.
interesting.
Yeah, it's a little different. At least it fits.
That's kind of fun. I like that.
So that fits. And then for the shirt, I am repping, we'll touch on this quite a bit, the 52nd annual Stock Car Stampede from Jamestown. I like this shirt because it's got like the nice retro looking bars underneath the Stampede. And it's a nice simple shirt. This one does not have the names on the back. And so
So is that what makes it retro? Is just the bars? If you add bars to anything, it's retro.
well, and you have to have like the red, orange, and yellow colors because it kind of reminds me like a VHS tape or kind of like those.
Oh, I like that old Mopar look to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I like this shirt a lot because, like, even though the shirts with the names on the back are cool, it kind of gets itchy.
True.
This
We
is true.
bought our shirts at the same time.
Right.
We'll
Yes.
probably do it again this year too.
Yes, Jessup was actually smart and bought a shirt right away.
He
You know,
did. He did not miss out
one
on his
time
size.
I try to be nice and not take mine right away because I was under the understanding there's one put aside and poof, gone. Gone are the days.
It was just, it flew away with the wind.
Yep. But I got a cheeseburger out of the deal.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That's a good trade-off.
I'm still remembering that cheeseburger to this day
It was probably the best cheeseburger he ever had.
on that night.
I can tell Jessup's tired.
Why?
John, who are you repping?
Well, Mason, we are very much twinning, except I am repping the 52nd annual Jamestown Stock Car Stampede name shirt, the ones that have the names on the back end. So it's got McDonald's car on the front of it. So that part's pretty cool. And then it's got the names of all the past champions on the back. So this
That's
weekend
not
is
the
the
chicken
53rd
nugget
annual.
buggy.
No, it is not.
You said the McDonald's car.
So yeah, Jack McDonald's car's on the front of it.
I know, I'm done.
So
I'm tired.
it's okay, Jessup, and it's not a mod, so it's okay too. So, but
Well, what would it be, John? Would it be a late model?
yes,
Because technically it would be. But now, in today's standards, it would be a hobby stock
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not wrong too.
or a
Yes,
bomber.
you're 100% right. Yep, or a late model like Sportsman. That's what it used to be called even back in the day too. So yeah, but no, I'm repping this with all the names on the back, and this weekend is the 53rd annual Stock Car Stampede in Jamestown.
Coming up that quick. It's that time of year already. And so that is what we are repping for episode 26. I believe Jessup has some things in store for the Hot Sauce Hot Memory Rewind, and we will give a shout out to Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro, who is also a new dad, if you hadn't heard already. Congratulations to the Sandros with, I believe it was, oh gosh, still terrible with names. This is tough because I've had like four of my friends just have kids, and so I'm confusing all the names.
Wow, Mason is not good with names. I'm surprised he's able to get names right at the racetrack.
I know it's a struggle some days, but anyways, congratulations to the Sandros once again. If you see Isaac at all during the remainder of the race season or heading into the off season, be sure to congratulate him and tell him hi. One of the nicest guys to talk to. He's been announcing a little bit. Racing got cut short, unfortunately, but we hope to see him back behind the wheel stronger than ever in 2025. So thank you, Isaac, for supporting us on the podcast.
And Mason, it was Harrison.
Harrison
James Sandro.
Harrison James.
That's a good name.
That's cool. That's a great
Harrison
name.
Burden. Harrison Ford.
Probably going to be a better driver than Harrison Burton.
Hey, he won. He got in.
It's kind of like Riley's probably going to be Riley Pelkey is going to be a better driver than Riley Herbst.
This probably is true.
What do you have for the Hot Sauce Hot Memory Rewind?
I have all of these.
Oh, geez. All right.
Let's go through all of them.
Yes.
All right. We're going to start with the first one. Remember, folks, you got to name the year and the driver. All of these will be coming from the same year. So let's kick it off.
Parcel Erickson.
Mason.
I have no idea.
Well, this is Troy Schill.
There's no way I would have guessed
I would
that.
have never guessed that. Like, never guessed that. You like how I read off the name that was on the car?
I do.
Yeah.
It did. I looked at it. It was the first one I saw. I'm like, okay, let's just see what this is. And it's like
I had no idea who it was. So I was like, I'm just going to read that off.
Troy Schill. I'm like, John is never getting this one. Mason isn't going to be in the ballpark. And boom. So that's the first one. Let's dig here. Let's go a little deeper into
Let's
this.
dig. Yeah, we just came up with a stumper right off the bat. And
Yeah. Let's see. Who's this one? Oh, you're not getting this one. try to be fair. Not gonna get. Oh, this is kind of a cool one. Let's see. Oh my. Oh, yeah,
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, we got good news and bad news.
You-
Good news. It went away.
No.
It's disappeared. It's running throughout the house.
It's
So
running
this
free.
was a custom-made T-shirt by one of our viewers, and it says, "John, this changes everything."
Oh
Which I
my
think might
goodness.
be said potentially this weekend at the Jamestown Stock Car Stampede. So
All right, Spider, where the hell did you go?
Indeed. And actually, he said that multiple times at the WISSOTA 100 too.
I did. I was putting on my inner Becca.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments that required a Becca line like that.
This is true. This
How
is
are
very
you
true.
doing, Becca? Are you recovering all right?
I'm quite surprised how quickly and well I have recovered from everything, considering they opened me up and sliced me open and pulled her out. So, but yeah, we're both doing good. Riley's a very good and very chill baby, so couldn't ask for a better first time mom experience.
Oh, she's so cute.
Oh, and she's so tired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, Becca, I stumped them both. Do you know who
Oh,
this is?
63. I do not.
Don't worry, neither did they.
Troy Schill.
I had no
Wow.
idea, Becca. I read off the
Wow.
side of the car and thought it was Parcel Erickson.
But you killed the poisonous spider that's in our house?
I think so. The hockey stick went right over the top of it, so either it's got some sweet maneuvering skills or it's dead.
Uh-oh.
All right, we're moving on. I'll give you a hint. This person still races today.
Do they have the same number?
I believe so. Mason, I'll give you a hint. This person raced. Pretty sure he raced when you were back over at the Silver 1000, but he did not race at the Silver 1000.
I'm trying to understand the gymnastics of that statement.
You went to a race, not the Silver 1000, but the race after. I'm pretty sure he was still racing.
Oh, okay. Was it a late? Is he in a late model?
He is in a late model.
Oh gosh. See, this is where I could utilize my little picture database, but unfortunately, that's on my hard drive that's corrupted.
I would say you could, but
13.
unfortunately you can't.
Oh man. Carrie LePage is the 4L. Um,
He raced 12 times this year, has 2 top 10s. He calls Hibbing and Grand Rapids home.
I
That's,
I
I would say mainly Hibbing as his home track.
gosh, I know there's a 13 up there. It's kind of a
John, as he's
So I'm going off the wall because I'm not sure if I know this one or not. But I am going to say that was it Patrick Kelly?
no, you would be incorrect.
Patrick drives a 63.
We also
Gosh.
drove a 2 last year.
Oh yes, because it's two, I think, is the USRA limited late.
Mason,
I
going once.
I can't think of it.
This would be none other than Roger Palu.
Okay, that's how you pronounce his last name. I didn't know how
Hmm.
you pronounce it. Yeah,
I don't
because
think I would have got that one, guys.
this year he has a blue and black late model, I believe.
So that's the next one. Let's dig a little further here. We're just grabbing at random here. This one, I don't even know. This looks kind of cool. It doesn't have a name.
Oh,
Let's see
Let's
who it is.
John knows.
That's spider one.
is that a Vagil?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
41. Okay, we're going to go to the next person. This one should be easier for everybody.
Terry Casey.
Very good, John.
Glad you knew that one.
What year would that be, though?
Ooh, that one.
You ready? Bye, wee baby Riley.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
Riley.
Riley.
Becca's told me to go with this one.
Don Shaw.
Go with this one.
Daryl Nelson.
This one.
49.
Is that Bob Tim?
No, it's Terry Roost. Okay, seriously, we'll pick out a. Oh, this is easy. John, you can't pick this one. This is a Mason only one.
Joel Kreiderman.
Very good, Mason. Did you know he's still racing?
I do know he's still racing
They'll probably
You
be up at
should.
Thunder Bay this weekend.
because he's mainly been racing the modified lately, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, we'll put in for this week the Joel Kreiderman, the Roger Paulo, and the Troy Shell. And Terry
Excellent.
Kinsey. So I'll send that one over so John can be right. But did you pick the year yet?
I think it's 1998.
Mason?
I want to say like 2000.
You guys have split the years. It is 1999.
Ooh.
So good job this week.
Well, that's way better than we did the week before, I believe, because I don't think we got any right last week.
No.
Well, that'll do it for the hot sauce, hot memory rewind. And so, like we said, it's
and
kind of an
if
informal
anyone can
episode.
identify number 41.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, because I don't know. But the only 41s I kind of know, maybe in the Iron Range, are the Vaduals. But they race super stocks right now.
I don't know where this one's from.
Well, as he's figuring that out, we basically, our track report focuses around one race, which was the WISSOTA 100, the 38th annual, taking place over the I-94 Speedway in Fergus Falls. I was there for all days, including practice from Tuesday on through championship Saturday. And John joined halfway through Thursday.
Thursday, yep. I joined around 7 o'clock on Thursday.
So what were your overall takeaways from the WISSOTA 100, John, as I have a small axe to grind?
My takeaways from the WISSOTA 100. So there was a great field of cars, for one. Feature racing action was really nice and very awesome to see. There was a lot of very good battles on the track. Very quality field of cars as well. As there was, I was going to say in the modified field, most of the nights you could look in there and you pretty much could pick out probably 20 guys that could be a champion of the 100 during each and every one of those nights. And then my fourth takeaway is there was a lot of people there in the facility and in the grandstands. I hear it every single year from multiple people that it just doesn't hold a lot of people. It just is. Look at how the empty grandstands are. And these are from people that have either one, never been to Fergus, have number two, have never been to the 100 in Fergus, or number three, just like to complain and moan and groan. Because we heard so many times this week, and this is one of my axes to grind, so many times this week of, oh, it needs to be moved back to Huron. Huron was better for it. Huron this, Huron that. So I'm going to say this. I was to Huron a couple years for the WISSOTA 100. I've been down there. Was it fun? It was a lot of fun down there as well. Is it a lot of fun in Fergus? It is a lot of fun in Fergus as well. In my personal opinion, is the racing better in Fergus? Yes. I truly think the racing action is better in Fergus. And because of track conditions are basically one of those reasons why I feel like the racing conditions are typically better in the Fergus Falls area. So that's just my takeaways. But the people that always want to complain and moan and groan about the WISSOTA 100, they probably need to take a step back and just appreciate that we have the event.
I would agree with that, and I kind of want to ask Jessup before I get on my takeaways. So you and Becca came over for the season opener at 994, and like not even focused on the racing. What were your impressions of the facility when you showed up?
Well, first off, the people who we sat by were very rude. They were probably the ones complaining. They know who they are. They can go pull their bib overalls over their heads and just disappear into the world. Now, besides that, the facilities are, I would say, they're very, very good. I would put I-94 facility wise for the state of Minnesota probably in the top four. And I'm saying top four because I've seen a lot of the Northeast Minnesota tracks and quite a few of the central ones. So you obviously got to give Ogilvy a lot of credit for what they've done. They're making some really immaculate moves over there. And then you got to talk about Jackson down in southern Minnesota, and that's a very immaculate place with a lot of good history. And then you easily can throw I-94 in there, and then there's got to be one other. Well, I would say Elko Speedway being an asphalt track. They have or when I was there, they had amazing facilities, and their grandstand setup's just amazing, in my opinion. But if we're looking at it strictly for a hosting track and just off of the qualities that it and features that it has, it's going to be tough to beat. Um, they have more than enough seating to host just about any racing division there. You could bring the World of Outlaw sprint cars, the World of Outlaw late models, and have a double header there and still have plenty of room to seat. And that includes the giant grandstand, I think, on the back stretch, and then the one on the front stretch. And then that's not even talking about all the trackside parking that you can have for tailgating and watching, which is a really fascinating aspect. As far as the pits go, the pits look really nice from what I've seen, but that was just a quick glimpse on a couple occasions, so I can't really give a fair description of it. Parking's a little unique. I think if when we were there, it was kind of a giant field out in front and you parked, but there seemed to be plenty of parking there. And campsites, I've heard good things about them. So the only thing I would say is their Achilles heel right now would be I think probably concessions. They have good food and they push people through pretty quickly, but it's a singular line from what I saw at the beginning of the season. So if you're hosting a larger event and you only have one access point line and a set of tills, which I'm sure they have something set up a little differently there for their bigger events, um, that would be the main drawback. The facility quality is pretty much second to none. It's really good, top of the line stuff. And the reality of it, the grounds are upkept really well. So there's not a whole lot to really gripe about on the facility um, attributes and qualities in itself. It's really good. Now, track prep itself, I look at it really as one of when you go to bigger races or racing in general, you either have really good heats and meh features, or you have meh heats and really good features. In this case, I-94 tends to lean towards, from what I've seen from my time there and from watching some of the 100 this year, it seems like it leans closer to the later of being meh heats and really good features.
I think that's a fair assessment. Now, the reason I asked you that because obviously that was your first time at Fergus Falls, and John already mentioned it too. But like every year at the 100, when they show like a live broadcast, and you always see the backstretch grandstands, which typically during a regular Friday night action, there's not going to be hardly anyone in that side of the stands anyway, just because everyone's on the main side. And where the live stream camera is, when you look down, you're only going to see the bottom few rows, and everyone's sitting up towards the top, and you can actually stand on that walkway up above those stands. And so you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be sitting higher up because of the way the track's shaped and it's inside of a bowl. So I get so frustrated seeing the comments every single year that's like, oh, there's no fans there. And of course, Wednesday and Thursday aren't always going to be the biggest crowds, although Thursday seemed to be pretty decent, but Friday and Saturday were packed.
But that argument only goes so far because you can use that against a ton of bigger shows. Wild
Yep.
West Shootout down at Vado, gorgeous facility.
Mhm.
But the way they shoot it, it looks empty.
Yep.
There was another one. What was it? There's a big IMCA show out in Arizona, same type of deal. They show the track, facilities look fine, but the grandstand looks emptier than can be. But that's because it's a ginormous grandstand where you're looking down towards the finish line. It's a bunch of empty seats because everybody wants to sit up top.
Yeah, I wish I don't know what the actual attendance numbers would be, but I'd be really curious to see how many people are actually in attendance, especially on Championship Saturday, because I was moving all around on Saturday, getting different angles and stuff like that. And even when I was really down at the bottom, getting peppered with dirt, there wasn't many empty rows in between me and then the rest of the fans going up. And I'm like, yeah, there's a good amount of people here. And so I just wanted to put that out there. Like, there was a lot of people at this year's WISSOTA 100 and a lot of campers.
I just
Lot of-
hope,
Yes, campground was packed.
yeah, I just hope nobody sat in front of the people that I almost sat in front of, or else they would have been lectured to death the rest of the night or the weekend.
You're just like a terrible person, Justin, just sitting in front of people.
30 seconds into the 2024 race season and people are complaining at me. I don't understand. It must be me. Or maybe it's Becca.
It was probably Becca.
It was probably Becca.
Well, we'll kind of breeze a little bit through the first few nights before we get to Championship Saturday. Did you watch any of the 100 like Jessup besides like bits and pieces, I guess?
I didn't get a lot of time between doctors.
I didn't either.
And running out. I really is like, oh, the 100's going on. And then the next thing you know, we're making picks, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're in labor. And
You were still in labor for however long.
we were still in labor, and I'm sitting
For
there
about 14
doing
hours,
my
right?
husbandly duties to make sure it's trying to go as smoothly as possible. And next thing, we're getting rushed out for surgery for a C-section, and we come back, and they're like, "Here's your kid," and I'm like,
And Jessup, you're like, I don't know how to hold them.
Oh gosh.
I didn't watch much. I think you'll laugh. It took me 3 days at the hospital to get through the Jerry Richard Memorial race at Cedar Lake.
Oh gosh.
That's how hectic it was with people coming in and coming out. And
I totally don't blame you for that. I'm sure it was chaotic.
then once it slowed down, they were like, you can, all right, we'll be back. And I'm like, okay. I hit the start, get it back, and the internet boots me off, and then I turn on the 100 and I put the hat next to little Riley and put the phone next to get our photo, and we're sitting there. I'm like, oh, this was a good race, and all of a sudden the late model feature was over. I'm like,
Yeah, late models actually had some really good racing this entire weekend.
but we should
They
move the race because this is just such a horrible place.
I mean, and the racing is just terrible. There's never anybody side by side.
Well, anyways, since I was the only one there on Wednesday, I'll kind of breeze through the qualifying feature winners.
We just want to hear the winners, Mason.
Yeah, Mason,
Not the whole
Mason, you do
story.
qualifying features for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we'll talk about features on Saturday.
You got it. So Wednesday, Challenge Series finale was kind of headlining as well, and it was a big points battle between the 33-1 TPO of Tyler Peterson and the 10 of Cole Searing, with Tyler Peterson leading the points going into that, and that was the final race for them. But qualifying features to set the inside row of the three-wide start for all the features on Saturday. Street stocks were first all week, with Braden Brower taking the Wednesday night feature win in the Midwest Modifieds. First career feature win in the Midwest Modifieds for Cole Elton in the 24, and he has a really sharp looking car, and one of my favorites because it has some pink in it. Like, and he looked really, really good on Wednesday. So big congrats out to Cole Ellen in the Midwest Modifieds. Your WISSOTA late models for the Challenge Series finale, it was Shane Sabraski who dominated that race. Like, he was pretty much untouchable. No one was anywhere close to him throughout the entirety of that 40-lap feature. Sam Mars in second, Cole Searing in third. Tyler Peterson struggled in that race, finished ninth, and with the small points gap going in, I believe it was 15 points, and I think the gap
11.
at the end was that
11.
11, and I think by 6 points, Cole Searing got the title for the Challenge Series. So I believe that's his second Challenge Series title for Cole Searing. Then in your super stocks, it was Sasquatch Tim Johnson in the 1JR taking the Wednesday night feature win, and in the modifieds, a former WISSOTA 100 champion, Dave Kane, took the feature win on Wednesday. So that's at your inside row. Top 8 finishers from each would qualify in or have the option to keep their spot. Touch on that a little bit more later because there's actually a lot of declines from Wednesday night. But Thursday night rolled on in, and with the street stocks once again, it was Jim Gullickson in the 21 machine taking the feature win. So he will be on the outside. These Thursday night features set the outside row. Midwest Modifieds went to the Nightmare Lucas Rodine to get the pole on the outside row. Late models, Lee Gross in the 4J looks really strong all weekend. He got the feature win there. Super stocks, if I can scroll down here. Jordan Hankemeyer in the 11A, another strong runner this season, got the feature win there. And in your modifieds, it was Dan Ebert in the 60 taking the feature win there.
Now, I did see this the super stock feature, and then I think there was a caution near the end, and I passed out, and then I kind of figured Hankemeyer was going to win. But that was impressive watching him hit the high side. He was the only one for the majority of it to go high, and then I think Moss went up the
Moss.
top.
Mhm.
Moss went up top and tried to join him, but those two are flying.
And
Yeah.
like, they don't have super stocks there on a regular basis, but they put on some really good races at I-94. And like, when they can bang the cushion like Hankemeyer and Moss were doing, it's fun to watch.
Yep.
And then Friday night, to set the middle row of the features in the street stocks, it was the Cole 34 Colton Brower taking the win there. And he had transferred in Wednesday and Thursday, but declined a spot both nights to try to get a better starting spot, and it paid off with a feature win on Friday. Midwest Modifieds, it was young Blake Adams in the 40D taking the feature win in front of Nate Rinke in the 71 machine. Late models, what a race. This was a really, really great feature, as you had Kevin Burdick leading, and then at the very last second, we had Mike Grassath, who started 11th in I believe it was caution-free, if I remember correctly, John.
Yes.
Edged out Kevin Burdick at the line by, I think it was 22 thousandths of a second.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Grassath, who only showed up on Friday, he wasn't there Wednesday or Thursday, as his kid had a football game the previous night, and he usually only comes on Friday nights anyways, but he is able to win the feature, and he got to start in the middle row for the Saturday night feature. Super Stocks, a guy that had really tough luck Wednesday and Thursday, Dexton Cook, your national point leader, he got the feature win, so he would start on the front row as well. And then your modifieds, Don Eichens, even after a little bit of a turmoil on one of the restarts, got spun around, but he was able to get the feature win to start on the front row for Saturday night's feature event. And so moving on to Championship Saturday, of course, with kind of the way the week gone, we had a lot of heavy hitters still in those LCQs, and unfortunately, we had some cartage in a few of them. We didn't quite hear you, Jessup. 100's! We definitely had some of that. I think we had so late models definitely had the most carnage, and the track had a little bit of character at this point, and it wasn't overly rough. It was just the cushion kind of like stopped halfway up the track, and so there was like a ridge halfway up, and so that kind of was creating some havoc. And unfortunately for guys like Corey Seekerson and Dustin Arthur, they had a really tough record. Seekerson on top of Arthur, but thankfully they were both okay. And so LCQs are always interesting to watch because you know that it's their last opportunity And there's usually some shenanigans that happen during that event. But track prep kind of went to work to kind of fix that ridge throughout the last LCQs. And then, of course, before the Parade of Champions came out. So it was actually sundown when the Parade of Champions went out, which I believe is the first time that the Parade of Champions has been under the lights, which is actually kind of cool. So first up, John, was these street stocks, and we had a lot of heavy hitters up at the front of the field for that one.
We had a lot of heavy hitters up at the front of the field, and we also had a really good race. They had a caution very early in that race. One thing of note too, and Mason, we didn't touch on it yet, but they moved the start finish line this year for the start of the 3 wide races for the final night. So what they did was instead of starting them as they came out of turn 4, they actually moved it past the start finish line and did it closer to turn 1. And honestly, it worked out well because we completed a lap in each race before a caution. In previous years, we had only completed, I think, 2 out of the 5 races last year had a lap completed. Before that, so they had to realign it back up, and it was double file after that. So, but that part was kind of nice. But no, it was a really good battle up front between the Brower brothers. And then you had Gullickson right in there too. Gullickson looked really good on his qualifying night. But the driver that was slowly making his way to the front was more Cody Coomer. Cody kind of fell back. He started right in the middle of that second row, and he had kind of fallen back a little bit at the start, and worked his way slowly back up to the front. And he was running the bottom, and most everybody else was kind of up on the high side because they had just redid the track before the street stocks came out with the Parade of Champions, and Cody was making a bid for the lead after a caution with just a few laps remaining. I think there was maybe only what Mason about 5 laps to go somewhere there, and they had a pretty long green flag run in there too. And Ty Agan was making his way up from deeper in the field. Ty started kind of in that right around I believe the 12th to 15th range, somewhere in there.
Yep,
And Ty had definitely worked his way up to the front. They got together though; those two drivers got together going to the bottom in turns 1 and 2, because they were both making a bid on Colton Brower for the lead, and got together, and both cars were pretty wrecked from that race. They also took out drivers like Justin Vogel was taken out in that wreck as well. I know Cole Gresseth got some damage in that wreck as well.
Derek Turner
Cole started pretty deep in the field. Derek Turner got damage in that wreck as well, and they were all kind of running right there in the top 8. So that was kind of tough to see for those drivers. So kind of heartbreak for Cody Coomer. But opened the door for Colton. Colton had to hold off Braden, but Braden had I believe engine problems. He pulled in kind of right before that final caution came out within the race, and then at the restart it was basically Colton. Nick Trainer was right there, and so was Gullickson. And it was definitely Colton Brower, who I think Mason, he led every single lap of that feature race to go home and take home his first ever WISSOTA 100 victory in the street stocks.
Yep, and his brother Braden won it a few years back, and so brothers keep getting the WISSOTA 100 over the last few years, so really good for him. Crossing the line in second was Nick Trainer, followed by Jim Gullickson, Jeff Echdahl, and Colby Keel. However, unfortunately, Nick Trainer was disqualified in post-race tech, I believe, with mounting location for the rear end. And so real tough, unfortunate break for Nick Trainer. And then 5th place finisher Cole Gresseth started 24th. So moved up 19 positions. So there's definitely a lot of passing, and very good race, though, for the street stocks, I would say.
Yeah, it was Cole moved up 19 spots, and Trey Hess also moved up 19. He started 29th and finished 10th.
Yep. And so then next up was your WISSOTA Midwest Modifieds. And had a couple early cautions, but then they had quite a long green flag run to finish that out. I want to say like 20 some laps at least to finish that.
Yeah,
out.
there wasn't a lot of cautions in that race at all, and it was a battle up front between Lucas Rodin, a past champion of the WISSOTA 100, as well as Matt Scow was right up there, and then the youngster Blake Adams was right there as well. So they kind of put on a show up front in slicing and dicing through lap traffic, and behind them you had really good battles between Cole was right there in the 24 machine. You also had Brennan Wacher defending the WISSOTA 100 champion right there, along with Corey Stork and Nate Reinke. But in the end, it was Lucas Rodin who passed the start-finish line first. Unfortunately, Lucas and Matt were both DQ'd due to a bar angle on their chassis. And both of them were DQ'd from their first and third place finishing positions, and that allowed Blake Adams to pick up the WISSOTA 100 win in the WISSOTA Midwest Modifieds.
Yeah, and those three, as they were getting through lap traffic, they were slicing and dicing. And they were trying every line they could to try to maneuver through lap traffic as best they could. And it was a really good race. Once again, unfortunate results for the two drivers in post-race tech, but congratulations to Blake Adams on his first WISSOTA 100 feature win. He's got a little bit to catch up to his dad, but you got to start with one. And a big congrats to Cole Elton in second, and Nate Reinke ended up in third. So then on to your WISSOTA late models. 50 laps for your WISSOTA late models. And again, a lot of heavy hitters in this one. Had a few cautions sprinkled all throughout this. Really, really great race ran by the 4J of Lee Gross. I mean, he got out front and he was banging the high side. I mean, it was fun to watch because he was holding off the likes of Shane Sabraski, Mike Gresseth. Although there was a point where Mike Gresseth got around him, I believe in turn 2, and then they had a caution and they reverted to Lee back in front. So, but unfortunately for Lee, as he was running that high side and Shane Sabraski was working the bottom, he got around him. I believe from Lee's Facebook page, he broke the J bar.
He did. Yep, I think that's what he said on his Facebook page too. Because he was banging it off the wall pretty hard.
Yeah, so that was real unfortunate. And Mike Gresseth, who typically doesn't run the high side at most racetracks, usually see him roll through the middle, but he was starting to work the high side and came down to a late race restart, trying to get a run on Shane Sabraski running the high side, and quietly moving up was Ryan Michelson, who started 19th. And it was almost 3 wide at the finish, but Shane Sabraski held off Mike Gresseth and both Ryan Michelson to get his first WISSOTA 100 feature win in the late models. So as he's won in the super stock and also the modified. So congratulations to Shane Sabraski in the 7A. And excellent race in the late models. Like, they put on a great show.
Very good race.
That was
very, very good race.
That was fun to watch because well, I was sitting next to John and like I could anticipate because like Sabraski kind of slid up and forward to kind of take the line away and Gresseth crossed under. Like the whole crowd collectively stood up on the exit when they exited 4.
Yep, everybody started to rise.
Yeah. It's like, it was a good race when everyone was starting to do that. So then super stocks. We had Dexton Cook and Shane Sabraski up towards the front. Tim Johnson and Jordan Hankemeyer, who actually, I believe, led the first couple laps until he had a part failure and he just darted to the infield a few laps in. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like, a handful of laps in, deleted the WISSOTA 100, and you have to pull in right away. I'm like that. So that opened the door for Dexton Cook, and I think he probably used every inch of that track trying to figure out which line was the fastest, trying to hold off Sabraski. You had late players like Ryan Kostreba, Austin Niemeyer, just a lot of shuffling, and they, like I said, they were using every inch of that track. But Dexton Cook, who's kind of been a bridesmaid in the WISSOTA 100, got to get to the feature win in there. Shane Sabraski from the 7th starting spot in second, and Ryan Kostreba, who started 16th, ended up in 3rd. So another great race for the WISSOTA Super Stocks at the WISSOTA 100. Any other takeaways that you noticed from that race, John?
No, not really, other than it was really nice to see a different, we had some of the heavy hitters in that race that we're used to seeing, right? Dexton Cook, Tim Johnson, Dave Moss, the likes of Shane Sabraski. So a lot of the well-known super stock drivers out there. And then we had some of the drivers like, Ryan Kostreba that was in there, Austin Niemeyer who was in there, and then some of those drivers that were making their way to the front and looked very strong and very nice in that big show feature event with the 40 laps on Saturday.
One note on the super stocks: previous WISSOTA 100 winner Dylan Nelson wasn't even in the feature this year.
It didn't even make it into the feature. He actually he was about that close to making it in on the final night for qualifying. And then I don't know if something happened to the car or if he decided just to save the car for the remainder of the weekend. But he did not run his last chance race.
No, and he actually I believe he qualified on Wednesday and he turned down the spot too. So interesting to see who declines and kind of how it plays out for the rest of the week. And then in your WISSOTA modifieds to cap off the WISSOTA 100, boy, what a great battle. Another long green flag run to see how that played out through lap traffic. And it was former WISSOTA 100 champions Dan Ebert and Landon Atkinson going at it in the 60 and 18A. And Dan Ebert pretty much held control throughout the entirety of that race, but Landon Atkinson was throwing runs at him like every other lap, it seemed like. They actually exchanged the lead with about 2 laps to go through lap traffic. But Dan Ebert was able to hold off Landon Atkinson to claim another feature win at the WISSOTA 100. Atkinson settled for second, and Don Ishins in the 9E settled for third. And so definitely a great way to cap off the weekend. Still had a lot of passing in that race, as well as Zach Johnson going from 17th to 7th, and Jason Tennis 23rd to 12th with very little cautions in that race. And so hats off to the crew at I-84, especially on that Saturday night, because that track started off a little rough. But the feature racing definitely was definitely memorable in all the classes. And so I want to say hats off to everyone involved with the I-94 and WISSOTA for putting on a fun event. And we were finished about, I think, a little before 12:30.
Yep, about 12:30. Yep.
So not too late of a night. So, but there you have it. That was your WISSOTA 100 recap. I tried to go to Devil's Lake. I was going to try to go to Devil's Lake yesterday, but I was way too exhausted. So I ended up taking like 2 naps, Jessup. You would have been impressed and surprised with me.
You could use 2 naps.
I'm sure you could.
Might just sleep downstairs.
Probably wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
No.
Well, what's upcoming next in the state of North Dakota or around the region, Mr. Dakota Dirt?
Did you know, race fans, if you want to check out your one-stop shop for everything in North Dakota racing results, weather forecasts, social media content, and much more, including schedules, you have to check out Dakota Dirt. Again, it is your one-stop shop for everything North Dakota racing related information. Take it away, Mr. Dakota Dirt.
We are very far behind, John. This baby has put a wrench into the plans of the website. But the schedule's up to date. And I'm sure if I have time tomorrow of changing diapers, making sure Becca's doing okay, and all that other good stuff that comes with being a dad, and we'll slowly begin updating everything else. Anyways, right in time for the end of the season. Anyways,
Better late than never.
Racing season for North Dakota is pretty much 2 more weekends, and that's it. Then it's on to banquet season. But outside of that, it's bowling and darts. This week, we have the Jamestown Stock Car Stampede. I believe it's the 53rd annual. Not the first annual, but the 53rd annual. What, Mason?
Nothing. Continue.
There are 9 different classes. Some people see that as a very good thing. Some people, not so much. But it's a very good thing because the pits will be full. There will be a lot of people out and about in the Jamestown fairgrounds area, and the racetrack will be buzzing with life. It is Mr. Miserable's favorite time of the year. It's basically his Christmas. And yeah, 2 nights of great racing action for this week in North Dakota. And if there's racing elsewhere, I just don't recall.
I got your back on this.
Is there one at
Mason will do the recap across the board at the rest of the neighboring tracks in other states.
Oh, you mean the one down at, let's say, Casino? For their,
Yes.
their
Autumn Classic.
It is the Autumn Classic, which is a doubleheader show, Mason, down at the Casino Speedway. They will be adding super stocks to enhance the viewing experience for their fans and the drivers in the area with super stocks. Now, in other racing divisions, I believe it's the Piston Cup over at the Granite City Speedway. And yeah. Woo.
They got some really cool trophies too.
They do have good trophies. I can't take anything away from them for that. However, we got another big money show coming later in the racing season, so not sure why they're adding another one. But it's
And we have to give props out to James because he does a lot of work for sponsorship and other items across the board, and he has raised a ton of money, not just for the WISSOTA 100, but for other big events as well, and that's pretty cool.
Yep. And then it is the Punky Manor Race of Champions over at the Red Cedar Speedway. And did they back it up for the Dwayne Mader Memorial that weekend too?
No, the Dwayne Mader actually, I think, got in this year, didn't it?
I can't remember. It's been
I think it did.
a big summer for me.
I think it did. I was thinking, oh no, I think that's next Thursday that the rescheduled Silver 1000 is taking place.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, let's.
See, Jessup, we have a road trip in mind.
Let's go. We're not even gonna go to Dakota Speedway. We're going west. We're going east.
I guess
We're
I'm
going
going to be.
west.
I'm going
We
to be.
could go west too.
I'm going to be solo over at Dakota Speedway then, from the sounds of it.
Isn't it the Hample Memorial out at Big Sky this weekend as well?
It is.
Yes.
They got a couple nights out there, it looks like.
They have just started to post their confirmed late model drivers. It looks like Vernon Hill will be out there.
And who else, Jessup?
I don't know. I honestly haven't had a chance to really look further out
Ray
west.
Pack Jr. is running Jeremy Castro's late model.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
See, Sheridan, Wyoming is also having, it looks like, a double header on Friday and Saturday.
What are they having? Tell me,
They-
Mason.
They have quite a few classes: Rocky Mountain Hardtops, Street Stocks, Sport Compacts, Modifieds, WISSOTA Mod 4s, and WISSOTA Midwest Modifieds. 6 classes. So that's.
Anyways, moving on, Mason.
Don't forget, River Cities has their all sprint car finale.
I thought that was last week.
Nope, they have another one this week.
Oh, that's right.
And they actually.
Oh. Go ahead, Mason.
I was going to say, they actually had weather kind of come in and ruin their last Friday. So I believe they had double NOSA features last Friday, but I think they maybe only got one of them in. So they may have double features again. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of racing taking place still this weekend. And we've had abnormally warm weather over the last week and a
It
half.
should be nice this weekend.
It should cool down to more seasonable temperatures. It won't be quite Stampede cold weather, but it'll cool down, which will feel nice.
I don't want to hear that. I want warm so I can just get through the weekend without passing out at the camera.
I was do you want warm or do you want hot? Because you sound like Becca if you want hot.
No,
You gotta
I
be
don't
like
want
Becca.
cold. I want
want
warm
hot.
nights, not cold.
Because you would have enjoyed the weekend. Well, I mean, it was windy at the 100 too, but it was still pretty warm there. Which also played a factor in why the track was the way it was, because it was hot and windy.
Mm-hmm. Really windy.
Yeah. So, but that is what's upcoming this weekend around the region for racing. A lot of options to take place, and hopefully you are able to take one of those races in as a fan. We will display the white flag and get to our wins of the week if any of us have any prepared, and give a shout out to the real deal Brody Carlsrud of the B1 IMCA stock car, who I don't believe raced this weekend, but he is planning on coming over to the Stock Car Stampede in Jamestown, so we'll be able to see him live and in person. Go check out his Facebook page, Brody Carlsrud B1 Racing, and check out his podcast, The Real Deal with B1, as he starts to wind the season down. He still has quite a few races, I think, on his schedule. So thank you so much, Brody, for the support on the podcast.
Brody did race this past weekend over at the North Central Speedway in Brainerd on
That's
Saturday
right.
and got second.
I forgot that they had because they added a few extra races in.
That was one of their added races.
I forgot about that. It's interesting. Anyways,
Okay, so wins of the week.
I'm gonna have to think of mine on the fly. So, what did you two want to go first? Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with my first win of the week, and I'm going to give my win over to Shane Sabraski, who was the winner in the late model, rookie in the late model division, picked up the big WISSOTA 100 win in a great feature battle over there, was runner-up in the super stock. In Victory Lane, he had mentioned that his super stock was kind of bogging down coming out of each one of the turns, so he was kind of confused on that a little bit he said it just didn't seem like it was running right. And then, unfortunately, he had some bad luck in the mod all weekend. So he was third on Friday night for the qualifier. He was supposed to start on the pole on Thursday and broke before they even took a lap in the qualifying feature.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then in the feature on Saturday night, he was running in the top 5 when he broke again and had to pull into the infield. But Shane's my one win of the week, as that was his 930th feature win over at the WISSOTA 100 this past weekend. And that is impressive.
That's a lot of wins.
That, as some people would say, that is quite large.
Fair enough. Jessup, do you have a win?
Me,
You do get a win. Yeah, that is a great win.
me and Becca, or the wee baby.
I would agree with that.
God,
They made baby.
yep.
Made baby. That's a great
There.
terminology. I will give, now that it's on my mind, I will give a win of the week to Trevor Anderson in the 20 machine. He had some very tough luck on Wednesday in his heat race where he and Sean Meyer got together and ended up with Sean on top of his car. And so he wasn't even able to finish out the night, but they thrashed at it, had to kind of race all the rest of the nights, Thursday, Friday, and in the LCQ. Started 29th and got 9th in the Saturday feature. So good job, great job persevering through all of that to get a top 10 finish after starting way back in a stacked field of late models. So shout out to Trevor Anderson, the 20 machine.
I will say my win of the week will go to the Nelson family of Cade and Daryl Nelson, as they picked up feature wins on Saturday, and Cade pretty much swept the weekend, or the week, or whatever the legendary 100 has become, for the USRA late models, and Daryl picked up a feature win on Saturday night in the modified division. So father-son duo of wins there.
Don't mind me. I have another win, but I have to get a prop real quick.
Did he
He's
say
gotta
he
go
has to
get
get a knife?
He's got to get a prop.
Well, since Jessup gave himself a win, I will also give myself a win.
I have one of those.
Oh, I know why Mason's giving himself a win.
Oh, he beat Kayla on the steps.
Well, but I also won the My Race Pass fantasy
Yes.
for the WISSOTA 100.
100
Did
fantasy.
you?
I did. Yay. I have a champion of the WISSOTA 100.
Good job, Mason. We're proud of you. All of us at the Track Packers page are proud of you.
Thank you.
Black flag for Mason. He goes to the end of the field. Cheating is not acceptable. This is my first stat lesson. This hurts me more than it's going to hurt you, Mason, having to give you this black flag.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The pits. To
Well,
the
will
pits.
will we see you make an appearance at the Stock Car Stampede, Jessup? Or do you want to share exactly what you'll be doing at the Stock Car Stampede?
Oh, I will be at the Stock Car Stampede. I will be there with DakotaSpeedway.tv and be doing all the broadcasting work for the night and the weekend. As we've helped out over there from time to time with certain memorial races, such as the Don Gumke Racers Memorial, the Stock Car Stampede. I think we went over there for the Carpenter one year.
I think we did too.
Think it was the Carpenter and the Redheaded Rebel race weekend. So we tend to get over there from time to time, but it's usually a pretty good show. I enjoy it. Usually I like to be roaming the pits and chatting with people during the racing action, but ever since we brought the broadcast over, it's back to work. Invitational season has become work season again, which is good. It's good.
Yep, and as a last closing thought, the three of us are part of the Stampede Shakedown, and we have a solid field of drivers once again representing in the late model division for their first time in a late model or first time in the last 5 years at least. And so, John, who are our drivers on the Stampede Shakedown?
Yeah, so actually I'll go through them really quick because we're actually putting together promotional items as we speak, and a lot of them will be announced tomorrow as well, along with probably one driver on the Wednesday timeframe. So first driver is in the 6R machine. It is going to be Nate Reynolds. So Reynolds in that 6R had been over to the Jamestown Speedway before at the Stampede in a WISSOTA Midwest Modified, a lot of wins in the WISSOTA Midwest Modified Division. Made the move up to the WISSOTA Late Models this year, and he is our first entry into the program. And I did laugh at Lindsay Hansen's comment today on the page because I do hope that Nate is able to keep the tires on the car.
Did that happen
So
at the
it's an
100?
inside joke. Nate lost his left rear tire before the late models took the green flag during the late model special back in August in Jamestown.
Yep. There were
Didn't
no
even make a
tires.
lap in the feature.
There were no tires that fell off during the Parade of Champions in Fergus Falls either.
This
Oh,
is true.
good.
This is very true.
So
So
John
Nate's
and
our
I were
first
right
one.
on the under.
Yes, we were under on that one. So Nate's our first entry into the program. Our second one into the program is going to be a driver that Justin is having his shirt on, and that is going to be Jaden Christ. So Jaden has raced a multitude of cars recently, right? He is a WISSOTA Street Stock champion in a couple track championships. He is also an IMCA stock car driver who has actually now sold his IMCA stock car. He no longer has that car anymore. He also has an IMCA modified that he runs for a driver out of Jamestown as well. And then he's got now a WISSOTA late model. So Jaden has run the late model a couple times this year, has picked up a heat win already with the late model, and he's going to be our second entry into the program. Third entry into the program. He is a driver that has won in the IMCA modified division, WISSOTA modified division over at the Jamestown Speedway, and that is out of Minnesota, Jamie Troutner. Jamie is a late model rookie this year. Looked pretty decent up at the Sites Memorial, and Jamie is going to be our third entry into the program. He's got a lot of laps around Jamestown in the 25 machine, so he's going to be an interesting one to watch this weekend. Our fourth driver into the program comes to us out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and he has been a driver that has actually been trying to come up for the last couple of years. He actually wrecked a car pretty badly back in the end of the July timeframe, but got a car put back together. Actually has a very nice paint scheme now with a pink and white number 27, and that is going to be Tyler Myers. So Tyler is going to come up this year in his 27 machine, and kind of excited to see Tyler run over in Jamestown. I believe he's been there in a super stock before, potentially, but it'll be nice to see him now in the late model division. Our fifth entry into the program is a driver that is very accomplished in the NX Legends division, as well as the IMCA stock cars. He's getting his feet wet in that division too, and that is Colin Compson, the young driver out of Valley City. He's going to be running a late model over there at the Stock Car Stampede, as he kind of one of those front runners in the Legends wherever he goes, but especially in Jamestown. He's kind of got that track figured out from the Jamestown side, so we'll get to see Colin in a WISSOTA late model this year at the Stock Car Stampede. And our final entry into the program, this was a pretty exciting one for us as well this year, is it's going to be the other half of the Donnie Schatz racing crew. So last year, we had Amelia join us for the shakedown in her WISSOTA late model. This year, we have Layla joining us in her 15 WISSOTA late model out of the Fargo area. The sisters ran over at the Sites Memorial in their late models and looked very good over there during those 62 field car shows, and especially with so Layla's still getting her feet wet in the late model. She doesn't have nearly as many shows in late model as Amelia has so far, but Amelia in particular, she actually almost qualified for the Sites Memorial feature event. She did qualify for the WISSOTA 100 feature event. Unfortunately, she broke her steering, I think, about on lap 10 and slowed up on turns 3 and 4 by the wall. But both sisters will be in Jamestown, and Layla will be part of our program for 2024.
Yes. So excited to see those 6 drivers join the late model field, and we should have a pretty stellar field of late models because there's been quite a few around the area, and just based on the car counts from the 100 and the Sites Memorial, should have another solid field as well in Jamestown. So that's where you'll find the 3 of us. I believe Becca's staying home, I'd assume.
That's a safe
She'll watch.
bet.
She'll watch on DakotaSpeedway.tv.
You probably will. I wonder if she'll check in.
Oh yes,
Maybe we'll have to announce that she's watching from home.
Who's gonna run the prize wheel? Or the kids
So,
wheel?
well, that will be me on Friday.
do we really want a miserable guy running the prize wheel though?
So, I mean, you've seen me run it before. I mean, I'll have my trusty assistant down there with me. So, yes, that is the person that is wearing the Jamestown Speedway hat. He'll be down there
look
with
at
me
you,
helping
Mason.
out.
Ooh, me?
So,
Now just
so with
remember, don't put the people behind the poles.
Yes.
Every
Yes.
year every time we go to Jamestown, it got better at the Gumpke
Rumpke?
Memorial. But we kept pulling the winners right behind the pole, and then it's always fun between that's like the two greatest difficulties of broadcasting at Jamestown is they like to put the winners right behind the beams and the poles, the pillars at the of the grandstand. So you just zoom in on a pole. And the other one is the nice people who stand in front of me. Like
Yes.
they stand one or two rows directly beneath the camera, and then everybody stand up.
I need to stretch.
I need to stretch, and then I stand there during the yeah, no.
We'll do our best to direct traffic so that way the lovely people on Dakota Speedway TV can see.
And then you see the slightly shaking camera work. That's me literally taking the tripod and doing the Josh Groban. I lift you up so my viewers can see the winners. I lift you up so I cannot get bickered at.
And with
Proud
that,
of you, Jessup.
that'll do it for episode 26 of season 3 for the Track Packers podcast. Be sure to like, share, and comment, and follow us on Facebook, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts is where you can find us in the audio form. Thank you to our sponsors, Hitch Harness, Isaac Hot Sauce Sandro, and The Real Deal with B1. We have a lot of racing action taking place this weekend. We hope to see you out there in some capacity, packing the track.